Hi, it's Sari. I normally do a Q&A on a Tuesday, but I was so hot and bothered yesterday that I couldn't be bothered. So I'm doing it on a Wednesday instead. I'm just going to see if anybody is around. Say hi if you're there. Say hi so I can see who's there. And then I'll do a couple of questions. Pop in a question if you've got one at all, if you want to ask me anything. Anything at all. Hi, Sammy. Hello, Thomas. Sorry, I'm just keeping an eye on the pup as well. Marple, come here. Come here. Little puppy that's not safe to be in the garden on his own. Here's the notorious B.I.G. Here's the notorious B.I.G. Hang on, let me see if I can... Here he is. Hey, mate. Say hello. So, has anyone got any question? Oh, you're saying you're the notorious B.I.G. Oh, he's running off. Let me know if anyone's got any questions about anything whatsoever. Hi, Paris. I was going to try and share it on another page that I sometimes help out on, but it won't seem to let me do it from my phone because I normally get quite a few questions from there. It won't let me do it, I don't think. I mean, I'm just going to move and check the dog is not escaping. But yeah, let me know if you've got any questions whatsoever. Supervising poo duty. Trying to figure out thoughts and feelings and what's causing the feelings. Well, the thoughts are causing the feelings. Because you're always creating to get out of the suffering. Well, the suffering, your perception of suffering is, I'm assuming, the discomfort of the feelings. But the feelings are only ever come from the thought. So you 100% of the time experiencing your thinking. And so those feelings are, you know, Sydney Banks would say, like your virus detector. So the feelings are actually really useful because what they're doing is they're telling you something's amiss. They're telling you that you're going down a thought process or path that's not helpful for you, and that something needs to change or to give. And so, sorry, I'm just going to get the bloody bushes. So it's not about figuring them out. They come hand in hand. And actually, you know, thoughts create feelings, and then the feelings are often what we then try and get away from because we find them uncomfortable or we've decided we don't like them. You know, for example, some people love roller coasters. They love the fear of being on a roller coaster and feeling in panic and that adrenaline. They love it. Other people hate that feeling and want rid of it. Oh, hang on. Is he doing a poo? Sorry about this. What are you doing? Yeah, so yeah, you will be blocking insights, Thomas, from trying to figure it all out because your wisdom, you get your insights through your wisdom and your that part of your mind that just kind of your gut instinct knows what to do, and you won't hear that if you're really caught up and lost in thinking. So it's the same with like insights, creativity. Like all my best ideas come usually when I'm just laid in bed and I'm drifting off to sleep and my mind is quiet from the day, and then all of a sudden ping, something will come up. Whereas if I sat in front of when I say, for example, I'm doing a manual, if I just sat in front of the computer and said, right, I need to now write this manual, so I'm just going to pick this dog up. Come here. No, you're not allowed there. If I just ended up, never mind that. If I just sat in front of the computer and said, right, I need to write this manual, it just wouldn't come to me because I'd have too much thought about it. So they'll just come to me in moments where I don't expect it. And you know, it's like a writer's block, isn't it? It's when you sat there trying too hard to think about what it is that you need to say or do, and rather than just letting it just come through you in that moment when your mind's a bit quieter. Oh, excuse me. Dog's biting me now. So yeah, so your feelings are important. They are your virus detector. So if your brain was like a computer, and you know, if there was a virus, it would say potential warning, you may have a virus. Well, that's what your feelings are doing. They're going, warning, you're going down a path of thought here that's creating suffering and distress for you. You might need to do something differently, or you might need to just settle your mind. Either way, they are important. So let's have a look. Sammy, how do you control overthinking? Well, you see, this is the trap that lots of people fall into because they believe that they need to control their thoughts. And you may be the cleverest person in the world, but you are never going to control your thoughts because we can't control thoughts. We can't. Like, we can have a thought about anything in any given moment that can be completely random. We can't control them, but what we can do is we can, once we explore or start to realise exactly how thoughts work, so for example, that's what I do when I coach people, is help them understand that yes, you may have a thought, okay? So, you know, if someone came to me and said, I had a thought that I wanted to go round and punch my neighbour and actually wanted to go round and kill my neighbour, like physically thought in my head I could go and get a knife and stab him, I wouldn't be ringing the police because that's a thought that they've had. Now, if they went out and started to buy the knife and started to, you know, plot when they were going to do it and actually take practical steps towards doing it, so acting on the thought, then that's very different. But thoughts are just thoughts and they are completely neutral until we give them energy. So it's not about stopping or controlling them, because it's more about just letting them come and go and do their thing and not giving them too much attention, too much energy, and not holding on to them. And you know, the thing about worry, Sammy, is that we all have worries, and if you know, spend all your time trying to get rid of worries. So for example, as a parent, I have worries about my daughter, just very natural worries. Now, me worrying about her doesn't change the outcome. She's going to do what she's going to do. I've just got to hope she makes good decisions, and, you know, and I obviously hope that her health is always okay and things like that. But me worrying about it or not worrying about it is not going to change the outcome. And actually, if I then thought, well, if I go through every eventuality of every bad thing that could ever happen to my daughter and what I would do and how I would prevent it, and if I try to figure it all out and I think, okay, I can stop worrying about that now, I've got it all figured out, something else will crop up. I'll worry about something else. So again, it's about just getting comfortable with carrying around worries and accepting that it's part of life. But there's a difference between having a worrying thought and having worrying thoughts that then become so crippling that it stops us doing things and getting on with our life and enjoying and feeling content. So that's the bit where I come in, is to help people so that kind of overthinking does not get in the way of living a happy life, because there's a big difference. Hi, Karen. Hi, Lona. So yeah. So the key is that we can't control. And the more you understand about the fact that we can't control our thoughts, the less you'll try and do it, because you'll realise it's completely pointless. And actually, all you're doing by trying to control your thoughts is keeping them there longer. And the longer your thoughts are there about a certain topic, the longer the feelings will last. And then you'll get your physical symptoms, and then the cycle continues. So it's really about understanding that you don't need to control them. It's the opposite of what you believe, or what often we're told about controlling your thoughts. You know, I hear people saying, oh yeah, we need to turn negative thoughts into positive thoughts. Well, sometimes that works, and other times, bloody good luck with it, because it's really not that easy. And so it's not about turning negative thoughts into positive thoughts. It's about accepting that we have both negative and positive. And actually, if we hold on to them, oh, thanks, Melanie. If we hold on to them and we start trying to figure them out and wondering why we're having them in the first place, and how do we stop ever having them, and what if this and what if that, that's what keeps them there. So actually, it's about accessing. You see, Sammy says it's hard to get out of. It's a habit, and it's just as easy to get out of as it is to get into. But again, that's only when we see for ourselves what thoughts really are. Yeah. So for years, for those of you that don't know me and haven't, yes, Ilona has followed my page for quite some time. It's letting them come and go, and I know that you've had a real change in your thought process, haven't you, which is fantastic. For years and years, I spent so much time trying to fix myself. From the time that I got really anxious and ended up spending a month in hospital, in the private hospital, ever since then, I believed I was broken. I believed that I was this diagnosis of, you know, having severe acute anxiety, generalized anxiety disorder, whatever it is. And then it was kind of like, oh my God, now I need to spend the next 20 years trying to fix that, trying to make sure it never happens again because I don't like it, it was uncomfortable and all the rest of it. When actually that was so counterproductive in a way for me, because trying to figure it out just kept it there. Like, you know, in the mornings I would wake up and go, right, what do I need to do to not be anxious today? Well, there's it's like me saying to you, do not picture a green tree in your head. The first thing you're going to picture is a green tree. So I was waking up and I was setting myself up for that day, you know, as soon as I woke up to go, oh, okay, so today, what do I need to do in order to stop myself being anxious? Hi, Vicky. And that's so counterproductive because that in itself creates anxious thinking. Why do I check all my windows and doors? I can't go out as overthink, is my house okay? Then when I get back, is anything going to happen? Okay, so Paris, you know, some people would describe this as them having OCD. So I get asked about this a lot. Now, I did a post actually yesterday on the page about OCD, so have a little read of it. But you are checking your windows and doors practically because what's happening is you are having thoughts. You're having thoughts that maybe your windows and doors are not shut, and then your thoughts are continuing and layering up. You're going, then what might happen? What if someone burgles the house and then I could be left with nothing? Blah, 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 blah. So you are layering thought on top of thought. Then the feelings attached to that are coming, and then the more that you're thinking about it, the thicker and stronger they're going to feel, and the discomfort. And then the discomfort becomes so much that you have decided, or you've created a habit that says, okay, how do I release this horrible feeling? I'll just go and check. So it's a practical behaviour. It's a behaviour to almost, you know, reassure yourself because you believe your thoughts to be true. You believe that you may well not have locked the window or the door when you know you have because you've probably already checked it. But then there's this little thought that says, but what if you haven't? So it's really about understanding more about thoughts, how they work, that we don't have to believe them to be true, that they're not true, and that we can get used to being comfortable with that discomfort. That was the massive key for me, was becoming comfortable with that discomfort. Because what was happening is I didn't like the discomfort, the feelings of anxiety that came from my anxious thinking. So I would then, when in fight and flight, I would think, oh my God, how do I get out of this? How do I make sure this never happens again? This is hideous. But all of those thoughts about what I needed to do to get out of it and to prevent it ever happening again was simply keeping it there, because those in themselves are anxious thoughts. And so then I would, you know, my body would then produce more adrenaline, stress hormone, and the cycle continues. So actually sitting with that discomfort that you perceive from those thoughts and those feelings initially, you may find it won't last as long. Well, I know you'll find it won't last as long. If you just sit with that discomfort, you know, we are made to take those feelings. We are made to weather that storm, and it will always pass. And it passes much quicker if you don't try and figure it all out like I used to do. So that's what I would do. Oh my God, this is horrible. How do I prevent this ever happening again? How do I stop it? I can't deal with this. All of those thoughts, it's almost like I may as well just be injecting myself with adrenaline every time I had one, and it would keep it going for so much longer. So let me just have a look. Okay, so eating disorder, change any disorder, eating disorder, health anxiety, OCD, all of these things that people name, change the first word to thinking, okay? So even an eating disorder, there's a great book that a lady and her daughter wrote about their experience of being a parent and being the young person with an eating disorder who also used the 3 principles, and that is how she got herself into recovery. It's called Recovery from Within, so that might be something that you wanted to have a look at. But it's all a thinking disorder. It's habitual thinking, whether it be about food, whether it be about alcohol, whether it be about leaving the house, whether it be about small spaces, whether, you know, in my private coaching group, you know, there's 2 people in there, one who has a fear of open spaces, one who has a fear of enclosed spaces. So we know it's not the spaces, we know it's their perceptions and their thoughts of those spaces. Otherwise, we'd all have the exact same fears and phobias and concerns, and we don't, because what we're worried about or what we're trying to avoid is really our illusion created through our perception of something. Yeah? So some people love bungee jumping, some people are scared of heights. Like, it's not the bungee or the height, it's your perception of it. So, let's have a look. Because I'm scared of being sick, would you class as anxiety or just my eating disorder taking over? So, what I would class all of that, a fear of being sick, eating disorder, anxiety, all of it amounts to the same thing, Vicky. It amounts to you habitually overthinking everything. And so your overthinking is then creating feelings which then result in you doing a behaviour, whether it be lack of food, overeating, being sick, whatever it is as a result of you creating feelings in your body that you are trying to avoid or you don't like the discomfort of, but it's initially coming from your thinking. 100 million billion% of the time. And I get, when I first started to explore this, I was like, well, I can see that it's my thinking for this situation. However, in that situation, when that person says that thing to me, that's definitely them, that's not me. They trigger me. This word trigger, okay. Everything comes from the inside out. And the more that we see that, the better we feel. And yes, I might look at something and then I have a thought, oh, that reminds me of this. You could call that a trigger if you want. But it's then what I do with that thought as to whether it then becomes something that distresses me or not. So, okay, Rebecca, any of you, let's have a look. Thank you for doing this, because for someone that's suffering breakdown, depression, anxiety, I find it very easy to talk to people. Okay, oh, thank you, that's lovely. So we can't stop thinking, Melanie. If you've only just joined us, if you go back to the beginning of this, when I end it in a minute, you'll see what I say about it. We can't stop thinking. It's not about stopping it. It's not about changing it, swapping it. Oh, Matt, there's a cat outside. There, our cat, yeah. Sorry, the cat's escaped. My therapy window must be open. Oh, bugger. It's like we've got our own animal sanctuary these days. There's the other one there. Sorry. Look, we've got my husband's now rescued the big giant cat. And then this is the puppy. Marple! 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 Wait! That's the big giant cat.
This is the man of my dreams.
Man of my dreams, yep, sure. Man of my nightmares, more like. Marple, get down! So, yeah. And the other thing I was just going to say, actually, I'm just middle of writing a book, which I've been writing for ages, because I just keep getting to the point where I just keep stopping and things get in the way. But it's actually called Anxiety is a Fucker. Or is it? And that is because at the time when I was really suffering, I just didn't understand what was going on, and I hated anxiety, and I thought it was the worst thing in the world, and I would rather have my right arm chopped off and all of the rest of it. And now I don't fear it in that way. My relationship with it has changed because I don't fear it, because I just see it as part of a normal emotion like any other, because I understand it and it takes the fear out of it. And so I don't get stuck in those cycles anymore. So anyone that is suffering, in my private group, so many people who would not leave the house, who are leaving the house. There's one client that I've talked about many times before, which if he sees this, he'll laugh, and I obviously won't mention his name, who didn't leave the house for 15 years pretty much, who went to Japan last year. We are not broken, okay? We are not broken. We may be overwhelmed. We may see things from a different perspective, and then we believe that we have to do certain things in order to feel okay, like stay in the house. But you know what? It just takes a shift in perspective. So yes, so I hope that helps, and I will leave it there. And I'll catch up with you all very, very soon. Bye for now.